So what happened specifically in Hamtramck? I know that you guys opened, and then the city council came out and basically said we didn't know that this was happening.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, so that's about this.
You know,
No,
man.
I will.
Hamtramck,
No,
man.
I will explain.
Hamtramck.
I will explain. Right, the recreational marijuana statute is what we refer to as an opt-out ordinance, which is the opposite of the medical one, which is an opt-in. The medical one said cannabis facilities, which is what they're called medically, are not allowed at all unless a municipality passes an ordinance that allows them, subject to whatever restrictions are in that ordinance. The Rec Act, which was like passed by the voters, right, said game on anywhere subject to normal zoning restrictions and whatnot, unless you opt out or you pass an ordinance that restricts it to some further extent. What you saw is, 70% of the municipalities in the state of Michigan passed opt-out ordinances like that, right?
Detroit, didn't they do that?
Yeah, well, there was some lawsuits there, and that was a complicated story. But yes, they passed the opt-out ordinance. Some cities passed the opt-out ordinance because they really were like, fuck recreational marijuana, like, period. Many others passed it just so they could take the time to study.
Which makes sense.
Like Detroit. Detroit passed it.
Yeah, Detroit didn't pass it forever.
Now they have ordinance.
They passed it to like take the time to deal with like what's the playbook.
Let's figure it out.
Because after that date certain, if you didn't have an opt-out ordinance on the books and you didn't have an opt-in ordinance that further constrained it, it was, purportedly free game, right? So Hamtramck had an opt-out ordinance on its city council.
For medical.
No, for rec about a year ago. And it was it didn't pass, and then they didn't do anything.
They just let it go.
It just was open.
Okay.
So
why wouldn't you?
So we worked within the rules and the people in the city, and we secured a building that's been abandoned for 20 years, and it's rather iconic, right? It's with the graffiti on the side on Holbrook. It's like it's right next to the Kowalskis. It's kind of like a visible thing. It was falling apart.
It's got one of our murals.
Does it
there?
Yeah, it's
in the market.
It's great. And so we did the thing and we got licensed legally. We didn't go out of our way to advertise it, and we also had to go to the city and pull permits for the construction. There was a ton of stuff going on there. Like there's
a lot of money going through.
It wasn't
there.
like sneaky, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
How could it have been? Right.
Like anybody,
you can't hide a retail
anybody
store.
could have gone and pulled permits or like whatever, right? And then we got licensed, and then we opened, right? And yeah, there's Hamtramck's an interesting place because you have.
Melting pot.
Well, I mean, as I'm a good Polish boy, my grandparents lived their lives in Hamtramck, but I never lived there specifically. But I understand that there is a rather. I
know a lot of guys that grew up in Hamtramck, and they're not the ones that are upset with you.
There's a very direct cultural divide now between